California churches. Evelyn had written a wonderful book titled Water on Stone. And a year after she passed away, in December of 2022, Gene began searching for a book designer. He found me through Doris, and I designed and published Evelyn's book. And Gene brought a few copies of the book here today. They're in the back on the shelf, and would love for you to take a look at it after the service. And he's selling the book for $15. I know that's not an appropriate type of advertisement here in a church. However, it is appropriate because all funds are being donated to this church. So if you decide you'd like a copy, you can take one home with you and PayPal the church later, or however you would like to do it, but all funds will go directly to the church. Thank you and welcome, Jean.
So good to have you here, Jean. Thank you for your generosity and for your talent, the beautiful chalice. We will be sharing joys and sorrows a little bit later in the service. So if you're in the sanctuary and you would like to share, the slips are located on the back table. They're the pink slips, and you can fill them out up to the end of time for all ages. If you're joining us online, I invite you to post your joy or sorrow in the comments section. I've got Facebook open right here for you and can read them there, as well as saying hello from wherever you are. And now, those of you in the sanctuary are now welcome to take a moment to greet one another.
My name is Christine Araoka, and I am your accompanist. For our opening hymn, we'll be singing We'll Build a Land, hymn number 121. Please rise in mind, body, or spirit and join us in singing. Here we go.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll like down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll like down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land, building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we see. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
As we talk about our siblings and peace and justice, we want to wish our siblings in the Islam community a blessed Ramadan Mubarak. Also, our Christian siblings are celebrating the beginning of the Lenten season and Ash Wednesday this Wednesday. And now, I invite Christina Gardner to light the chalice. Please join with me in saying our unison affirmation that's up on the screen. This flame affirms the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Love is the doctrine that we share, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, thus we do covenant with one another. It is our custom to provide donations of non-perishable food and personal care items for Pathways of Hope, a local food bank. As the children come forward, they are asked to collect the donations and placed at the end of the rows, And now the children are invited to come forward for Time for All Ages.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and this we
Megan Watson. I am the teen coordinator here at UUCF. And maybe some of you don't know, but in my 9 to 5, well, not really 9 to 5, my weekly job during the week is I teach kindergarten through 5th grade students. And I'm also on the Fullerton Library Board of Trustees. So you can say that I am a certified book nerd. I am big into books, got my book earrings on today, got my book socks on today. Thought I'd wear all the book accoutrement because there's something really cool happening tomorrow. Anyone know what's happening tomorrow? It's on the screen, actually, if you... Josie, do you know what tomorrow's? It's Read Across America Week! Woo! No one else? Okay. It's just me. March 3rd is the beginning of the annual Read Across America Week, which some of you might celebrate in your schools this week. Before we go any further, what grade are you all in? Andrew, what grade are you in? You're in what? Third? Third grade? 5th grade? 6th grade? TK, I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I have kind of a mind-blowing fact to tell you guys. 54% of American adults read below a 6th grade level. That's kind of a fact more for the adults in the room than it is for the kiddos. But reading is so, so important, and developing that love of reading early on means that we will continue that love of reading through our life. And hey, maybe sometimes it goes away. We don't read as much as we used to, but then we read more. Do you know what state has, this is for the adults, do you know what state has the lowest adult literacy rate? California. Yay. Okay, back to happier things. Read Across America Week was started in 1998 by the National Teachers Union, NEA. The purpose of this week is to bring attention to reading not just any books, but diverse books that help us to understand people and cultures around us. Reading helps us to build empathy, compassion, and understanding. It actually helps us get better at living some of our UU principles like justice, equity, and pluralism. There's a popular Bookstagram account run by a young man named Adam that summarized the importance of reading at this particular moment in time quite well. He said, "Reading is more than just turning pages. It's an act of defiance, a quiet rebellion against ignorance, passivity, and the forces that seek to limit our understanding of the world. Reading's not just a hobby. It's an act of self-empowerment, a tool for change, a way to fight against the forces that seek to control what we know, how we think, and who gets heard. So pick up a book, challenge yourself, ask questions, seek out stories that make you uncomfortable. It matters more than ever." So today in our classes, we're going to read some books to learn about other types of people, other faiths, like a book about Ramadan, and also some entertaining ones, like one of my favorites, Leonardo the Terrible Monster. Highly recommend. You guys can come listen to story time with us, but it's fine. We're also going to make some take-home projects so that reading can be even more fun at home. And adults, we have not forgotten about you. When you're hanging out, enjoying the snacks after the service, please add to our whiteboard that asks, what's your favorite book? And we'll see what everyone in the congregation's favorite books are. All right, you guys ready to go talk about reading? Yeah! Oh, I love it. I love enthusiasm. Let's go.
Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way. Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way.
Those joining us online are invited to share in all caps a joy or sorrow in the comment section. and Christina will light a candle for those sharing online, and those actually in the sanctuary will be invited to come forward to light your candle. First this morning, from Peter Warner, it's a concern. He says, my sinuses have been draining for the past 2 days, causing dizziness and lethargy. Yesterday, I had a slight temp for most of the day. Today, I feel a bit better, but still have an occasional cough. Peter, we continue to hope that you feel better, and we're so glad that you're here. A joy from Aaron O'Donnell. Our game room and house are clean and ready to host our first family circle dinner on March 15th. Ralph Margolin says thank you to Ellie and the caring committee for the very kind card. Debbie Langenbacher has a joy. After many years, my video IEP in Español is now available. Felicitaciones. My hope is that it will help Spanish-speaking parents who have children in special education. Zayden and Anya, my doggie died this week. His name was Moki. Is that right, Moki? And so we give our condolences this morning for Moki, and we know how important our fur babies are to us. We join you in celebrating your joys. May you feel our love and compassion for your sorrows and concerns. For all that is spoken and unspoken, may the caring of our beloved community sustain us all.
Sunday morning is to spend time with the talented Christine. Now it's time to move into a spirit of meditation, reflection, and witness. Take a deep breath, find your center, and let's listen to the words of Deborah Weiner. She wrote this piece called Protectors of Agency in January of 2023. She starts by quoting, "Life isn't fair, but government must be." That's Ann Richards, the former governor of Texas. Deborah says, "My mother, Vera Weiner, was one of the founders of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. In the 1960s, she, along with a group of active Unitarian and other progressive women, were leaders of Planned Parenthood League of New Haven. My mother became president during the time that Griswold versus Connecticut case reached the United States Supreme Court. What drove it there was the police closure of the clinic for dispensing birth control, with PPL supporting the notion that the right to privacy included women having agency over whether they wished to become pregnant. After the clinic was raided and shut down, the PPL board was determined to continue their operations. They set up an office in the basement of our house, a few miles outside of New Haven. The windows were covered with cardboard. There were typewriters set up and boxes of contraceptives everywhere, nurses on staff to provide the birth control upon request. The Planned Parenthood women would comb the newspapers for birth announcements, contact the new mothers with congratulations and offers of birth control. Meanwhile, I was warned not to tell anyone what was going on. I was told it could result in my mom getting arrested, so I kept quiet, and the basement operation continued for some time. When the Griswold versus Connecticut ruling came down from the Supreme Court in 1965, there was a huge celebration in New Haven. The victory resonated across the United States and changed our understanding of a woman's right to privacy. My mother and her friends, almost all of whom were UUs, were heroes because of their determination to act for access to birth control, even when the state had barred it. A few years later, in 1973, Roe versus Wade became law as well. And as I was growing up, I viewed these occurrences as a logical progression from the right to privacy to the right of a woman to hold agency over her own body. The blood of my mother runs in my veins, and as a Unitarian Universalist religious professional, the call to continue to work for freedom and justice rings in my ears. My mother's work is not done. It's mine to do and ours, without end, because to pause imperils freedom. May the belief that we as sacred beings hold the wisdom to know what is best for our own selves and that we are the best protectors of our whole beautiful lives. Christine, I think my blood pressure is literally lower right now after hearing your music. And that's important because one of the thoughts that we'll share before our play is the theme of harnessing our anger. And this was taken from Glennon Doyle's Instagram video, which came out in March 19th, 2020. Glennon responded to the question, I'm really struggling with my anger lately. I just feel angry all the time. What's wrong with me? This is the response. There's nothing wrong with you because you're angry. Anger is a normal human instructional emotion, just like joy. It's just that we as women, just like every other marginalized group, are trained and tamed to be ashamed of our anger. It's important for every single marginalized group to be trained and told over and over again that if they're angry, that means there's something wrong with them. Why would power structures want marginalized groups to believe that their anger is something to be ashamed of? Because people who do not struggle with their anger, but instead embrace their anger and harness their anger, are the people who demand change. The only people who have ever changed toward the world were people who were pissed off and who stopped trying to manage their anger or fix their anger or struggle with their anger, and instead they embraced their anger, harnessed their anger with other angry people, and unleashed it in creative ways to make change. What if instead of struggling with our anger, we consider that when we feel angry inside, maybe it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. Maybe it means there's something wrong. Not wrong with us, but wrong out there, something that we might be able to help change. Women from time immemorial have been gaslit by the entire world. Every time we felt angry, somebody tells us we're crazy. The truth is that angry women are not broken. We're just some of the only people who are responding appropriately to a broken world. Most of my activism in the world is done because I've trusted my anger, because when I get pissed off, I just assume that there's something to be pissed off about. And I find other pissed off women, and we pull together our genius and our talent and our resources and our energy, and we unleash it. The really cool thing about anger is that when you use it out there, it disappears for a while. When you stop swallowing it over and over again and studying it and trying to not be it and feeling ashamed of it and not speaking your truth, when you use it creatively, constructively, it's fuel, it burns up. Then you just settle back down until you get pissed off again. But don't have to take our words for it. Let's hear from some of the most famous Unitarian Universalist women of the past. We're going to invite them to come join us today. What luck we have to have them with us here in the house. Ladies, I make you welcome. I think it's time for me to be I guess I'll be the dude. And let's get this show on the road. Would you like to come in, Miss Abigail Adams? You know, women in the 18th and 19th century, they were supposed to stay in their place. You're in the home, raising children, you don't get an education, you don't vote, you don't work, you don't think for yourselves about God or life. But somehow, Unitarian and Universalist women didn't always fit the mold. Come on in.
Hello, I'm Abigail Adams. I am the second First Lady of the United States of America. But I'm not just the wife of John Quincy Adams. I'm a mother, and I manage a farm. And I have to admit, I do that very well in John's absence. He's been gone a long time. What you may not know about me is that I actually handmade bullets for the Revolutionary War. And if you've read my letters, you know that I've reminded John in no uncertain terms, remember the ladies.
I am Julia Ward Howe. I was born May 27th, 1819, and died October 17th, 1910, of pneumonia. Though raised an Episcopalian, I became a Unitarian by 1841. You probably know me as the woman who wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic, but I was also an active abolitionist. My husband and I supported John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry and were strongly against slavery, though I am embarrassed to say, at the time, I still did not believe in racial equality. I also fought for women's rights, prison reform, and education for all. You know, in my day, women couldn't go to college, and poor people got no education at all.
I'm Frances Watkins Harper, a novelist, a poet, writer, and educator. Some called me the mother of African American journalism because I wrote and published so many art magazine articles. I also fought against slavery, and I helped slaves escape through the Underground Railway. After the Civil War, I joined Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony in fighting for women's rights to vote.
I'm Clara Barton. I was a nurse on the front lines of the Civil War at a time when women weren't supposed to nurse soldiers, and it was brutal. I founded the American Red Cross. I was also a teacher and established the first public school in New Jersey. People didn't think poor children or women should go to school, but I did.
So you were a nurse. I'm Florence Nightingale. I was a nurse too. That's amazing. And I faced the same problem you did, although, as you can tell, I came from England and a pretty wealthy family. I didn't want to get married. I wanted to serve others. I worked in England's hospitals for the poor with their terrible sanitation and on the front lines with dying soldiers in the Crimean War.
My name is Lydia Maria Child. You know me, I think, as the author of that cute Thanksgiving song, Over the River and Through the Woods. A nice tune, but I believe I have done more than that. Everybody loved my children's stories and my book, The Frugal Housewife, which frankly I wrote because my husband and I were having a tough time surviving. But my reading public wasn't thrilled when I joined the abolitionist cause and spoke out strongly against slavery. I also helped slaves in the Underground Railway. Later, I founded the Massachusetts Women's Suffrage Association, advocating for the vote for women, and also worked for the cause of the Native Americans having their own language and religion.
That was supposed to happen. Let's dive in deeper. Let's find out more about these ladies. Now, ladies, you're certainly a remarkable group of women, but I do have some questions for you all. In your time, all women were supposed to be wives and mothers first. What do you all think about marriage and traditional gender roles? Let me start with Julia.
Well, to be honest, not much. My husband Samuel believed in abolition and many other good causes, but he didn't believe women should work. He resented it when I wanted to work outside the home. It was only after he died that I was really able to do what I wanted. Although he died without leaving me any money. Still, I had my freedom. He also didn't believe that women should have sexual freedom outside of marriage, though he believed that men could. You know, the old double standard.
I have a slightly different opinion. I truly love my husband, John. He was a good man. He respected my opinions, although he didn't listen to me about putting women's rights into the Constitution, and we really argued over that. I said, remember the ladies, and he forgot them. He did leave me alone to raise the children and tend the farm by myself for years on end while he worked for the Continental Congress, was ambassador to France, and then president. I confess, it was sometimes very hard. I felt very lonely. It was really better later in our lives when he retired and we could spend some time together on our farm in Quincy.
Well, I can't really comment. I chose not to marry so that I could do the important work of helping others. Some people thought that was strange. I didn't. I was happy with my work.
Well, I started working as a seamstress when I was 14, and I didn't get married until I was 35, after I'd already become a writer and an activist. I loved my husband, Fenton, a widower with 3 children, but I must admit, I stopped lecturing when I was married to him and only started again after he died. I agree with Julia, however, that there's a double standard about sex for men and women. In fact, I wrote a poem about that. It's called The Double Standard. Do any of you want to hear a little of it? Oh. Crime has no sex, and yet today I wear the brand of shame, while he, amid the gay and proud, still bears an honored name. Can you blame me if I've learned to think your hate of vice a sham, when you so coldly crushed me down and then excused the man?
My parents exposed me to all sorts of reading and study and travel. But in the end, they wanted me to use all that education just to be a good housewife and mother. My father nearly had a stroke when I refused an eligible young man and refused to marry anybody. But I found my true vocation was nursing, healing the sick and wounded, and improving the terrible hospitals in England.
My husband, David, was a good man too, and we worked together in many of the same causes. But he couldn't manage money and wound up in jail for debt. We both had to struggle quite a bit. After he died, I continued my own work and for the first time had some financial security.
Isn't this great to have these people right here? How about a round of applause for these fantastic women? You know, we're going to check one more time. I'm just going to ask, how many of you supported a women's right to vote? Oh, great. And how many of you got to vote in your lifetime? Okay. Well, in that case, is there anything you'd like to say to women today? And Francis, we're going to give you the last word on this. Would anybody like to start? What would you like the women today to know?
Stand up for yourselves and for others, and exercise the right to vote we all fought so hard for.
We understand that even so-called rights guaranteed by law can be taken away if we are not diligent in guarding them.
Educate yourself about current issues. Use your power. Speak up and speak out until you are heard.
We must, each of us, have control of our bodies and the right to choose what is best for us.
While I'm not sure I understand pronoun identification, no one should be discriminated against based on skin color origins, gender, or self-identification.
Stand up for what you believe is just. Get involved. Use your hearts, your talents, and your minds freely and generously.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. For these talented ladies, let's march them off. Here we go.
Such wisdom. We can envision a world where Washington, D.C. actually matched when it came to gender, our women in power. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice and love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many small congregations. No matter the size, every congregation depends on each of its members, each one of you. By your commitment of time, energy, and resources helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy.
For our closing hymn, we'll be singing hymn number 1017, Building a New Way. Please rise in mind, body, or spirit and join us in singing.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, our world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Oh, we need to clap after that. That was amazing. Our caring listener this week is Debbie Langenbacher. You can speak with her after the service if you have any concerns or would simply like someone to talk to, and trust that what you share is always confidential. Now, let's join hands if you would like to join hands, if you wish. I heard a wonderful minister talk about profanities from the pulpit before. And what I want to say is, when words fit, words fit. And if you are worried about profanities instead of worried about women's rights, then you come to the wrong place. Now, go in peace, and let us extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts wherever we may go. And let us say together, Amen, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, and blessed be. Now in peace, go now in peace.